Hello, everybody. This is Nick Totero, Professor of Information Technologies and Computer Science, Lakeland Community College. All right, there's different types of enumeration. Refresh. Enumeration is just doing additional deep diving into a target machine. You can enumerate Windows machines, Linux machines, but you could also enumerate services. For example, if you were to discover a weak DNS server, that might be something that you want to deep dive into. Maybe you can do a zone transfer. Now, you notice I use words very carefully there. I said, maybe you found a weak DNS server. And that's what we're really looking for. We're looking for those weak machines. As penetration testers, ethical hackers, what we're trying to do is we're trying to discover those weaknesses to report back to our clients. So in this particular video, I'm going to do a DNS enumeration, and we're going to have to really suspend disbelief because there is a lot associated with this in the background. And I just didn't want to go through every switch, every command, every you name it. The other thing, and I will keep warning in these videos, is these DNS servers do not like having their zones transferred, right? That is a big time security issue. So they know, the developers and the engineers know to harden these DNS servers. And if you try to force DNS zone transfers, bells and whistles are going to go off, right? It is one of those things that you have crossed that line. So to accomplish this, there are websites out there that allow you to test your skills. It's completely legal, but the issue with testing your skills is they're known vulnerabilities, right? There's that suspension of disbelief where I know I can enumerate this machine. In reality, it may take days, weeks, months to find a weak DNS server. Just to find a weak DNS server that would allow a zone transfer. And then I would have to sit there for hours trying to tweak the right switches. So all I'm going to do in this video is show you what could potentially happen to a weak DNS server. So let's go up to my screen. And I'm at this site called zonetransfer.me. This is a well-known practice site. The individual who created the site kind of explains what this site is about. It's for practicing if you want to support it. So when the individual goes out to a customer site, he can do demonstrations about weaknesses, potential weaknesses with DNS. So this is a DNS server that is just ready to be enumerated. So we're going to start there. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to follow their example right here. They give us an example. They're going to use a dig. In previous videos or in textbooks, they talk about dig as a NS lookup into a domain name services lookup. So why don't we do that one? Why don't we use the one that they're telling us, and let's see what happens. So let me go to my screen. I'm in Cali right now. Let me go to a terminal. Actually, I already had a terminal up. Yeah, there we go. Was it this one? Let's see. Yep. All right. There is the dig command. Again, I apologize for the colors and the backgrounds and stuff like that. Let me see if I can clean up my scene. I'm following their dig example. I don't remember these things. I keep notebooks. If you watch me, especially in this course, with there is so many switches and things to do, I just don't remember them. I remember the overall concepts. I remember the overall, okay, this particular command does this, but I have to write this stuff down and keep copious notes about this. So all I'm doing here is I am following their example, and their example says dig AXFR. We can look up those switches if we wanted to. And this is the server. This is the server in which we're attacking, the nsztm1.digi.ninja. That is the target server. And we're targeting a zone file called zonetransfer.me. So two things there. We're targeting a server, we're targeting a specific zone file. Remember, a DNS server could have numerous zone files on it, right? This happens to be the one that we know for sure. Let's pretend it took me days, weeks, months to discover this DNS server, to discover the potential of the zones that are on that server. Now I finally got to the point where I can force some information. I'm doing it in 30 seconds. This could have been an arduous task. Good chance I would have automated it. So let's see what it comes back with. And just a wealth of information. You know, I'm enumerating the system. It is telling me all the different types of DNS records out there. MX is a mail record. So this particular zone file does have MX records pointing to email servers. It looks like they're going to the Google servers. We have start authority records. We have a whole series of things. Now, not concerned about the specifics of the zone file. What I'm concerned is that I spent days, weeks, months. I found a weak DNS server, and now it's time to enumerate and grab information off it. So they gave us the gentleman who runs the site said, here, try this dig. I'm going to try another command. Let me clear the screen, and I will warn you. Do I remember this command? Absolutely not. Not one bit. It's in my notes. You're going to see the complexity involved with it, but we will break that down. All right, I'm down here in the lower right corner because I don't want to cover up the nmap utility because it can be a very, very long line. As I keep mentioning, nmap is the Swiss Army knife of networking tools, pen testing tools, and things like that. Nmap has a complete scripting library. NSE, I think it stands for Nmap Scripting Environment. And we're going to use Nmap and its scripting tools to enumerate or to do that zone transfer off that DNS server that I showed you in the first part of the video. So I already have it typed out. Give me a second here. And let's break this down. Obviously, nmap is the command. Sorry for the magenta, but -- script is telling nmap you're going to be using your scripting language. The script that I'm going to use, the standard script in nmap, is called DNS-zone-transfer. So somebody somewhere created a standard script for DNS zone transfer using nmap and the scripting language. It'll go up to a weak DNS server and force a zone transfer. I'm also telling nmap that there are arguments associated with this. We have to tell nmap specifically where to go and what to do. And here are the arguments. I'm going to start with the first argument is the server name. So how we break this down is basically saying DNS-zone.transfer, the script file, the argument.server. And we give it the server or the target's name. This target's name is nsztm1.digi.ninja, right? So I'm giving it the server name. Again, our collective imagination says we found this weak DNS server and we want to exploit it. We want to enumerate or grab information off it. The second argument is right here, and that's DNS-zone.transfer.port equals 50. Now, if I was to look up port 53, if I look up port 53, that is the standard DNS port. So when you communicate with the DNS server, your client is using well-known port 53. So you don't have to go looking that up. It's an established port. And then finally, the last argument that I'm going to pass to nmap is DNS-zone.transfer.domain. That is the file that I'm looking for. It is the zone file I am looking for, and the zone file I'm looking for is zonetransfer.me. Remember, in DNS, if you take in Networking Plus, Security Plus, we talk about DNS. DNS is the server. The zone files are the database files that the DNS server uses to distribute information. So in this particular script command, I'm telling it, go to nsztm1.digi.ninja, the server name, use port 53, that's the standard DNS port, and then draw the zone file zone transfer. Let's see what happens. Lots of information, lots of records. It's a pretty significant zone file. We suspended reality a little bit. We pretended that we spent days, weeks, months hunting down a weak DNS server. We found a weak DNS server that allowed unsecure zone transfers. We requested it and we pulled it down. If we were to look at this, very similar to what, not similar, it's identical to what we saw with the dig command, except it's better formatted. And then we can take this, put this into a report or something like that. So nmap, dig, all of these were tools that we can use for a zone transfer. Okay, we had to suspend disbelief for this video, but this is what happens. In other sections of the course, we talk about scanning. You know, the scanning, we suspended disbelief in scanning because scanning may take us days, weeks, months, years looking for those weak servers or weak targets. Once we discover those weak targets, then we begin to enumerate. We say, okay, what additional information can I find? In some videos, we enumerate a specific type of server, whether it be a Microsoft server or a Linux server. In this particular video, we found a weak DNS server out there in the world, in the wild, and we said, okay, tell me what files you have. And lo and behold, it printed it out. So please understand, this, what are we at, about 8, 9, 12 minutes or something like that? Something in the real world, if you're doing a pen testing, this is a long, drawn out process. So hope you enjoyed it. That being said, let's go out and learn something.